Dear people, the moment you have been waiting for years has finally arrived. I am genuinely speechless. After 1,000 tested motorcycles, this thing here has left me without words. Stark Varg Supermoto, does it only leave me speechless or does it also make me quick? You will get the answer in this video. Yes, dear people, I have ridden a lot of motorcycles here already on the 1000 PS best time test track in Bad Fischau. We measure the lap times with our RIDELINK Wingman. Completely incorruptible. I think we have already entered around 140 motorcycles into the ranking, but this here really puts everything I have ridden so far into the shade. I already approached the first ride with a huge amount of respect, because of course I knew that this is an absolute torque and acceleration monster. And for me, the only question was this: how much of that potential can I actually turn into lap time? So, dear fans of electric mobility, and dear Stark fans, you do not have to be angry now. I definitely did not use the full potential of this machine. Next week, Bernd will be here. He will then show what is really inside this motorcycle. But I can tell you how much of this potential an average rider like me can actually use. When you climb onto it, the first thing is that you are naturally pleased by this sporty feedback that is immediately there. This is a rock-hard, brutal racing machine. And the fans of powerful petrol motorcycles do not have to be offended either, just because an electric motorcycle, of all things, delivers such an incredibly sporty, uncompromising overall concept here. It has great brakes, high-quality Brembo brakes, a rock-hard chassis, and a brutally uncompromising plank-hard seat bench, where you can really move yourself far forward, almost right up to the steering head. So you really feel it here. You are sitting on a racing machine. And just because of the way the motorcycle presents itself, you already go into the whole thing with a serious amount of respect. Then there is the fact that the turn-in behavior is, of course, a little different from that of petrol motorcycles. Many electric motorcycle manufacturers have the problem that their bikes push outwards in the corner. Because of the front-heavy nature of the battery, they run wide, and the motorcycle simply becomes difficult to ride. I think Stark has solved that quite well here by using a relatively aggressive geometry. That means the machine finds the inside line well, but it also has a slight tipping in moment. So when you are, let us say, at around 30 degrees of lean angle, and then move on towards 40 or 50 degrees, you do not get a completely linear feeling. Instead, you get this slightly nervous, slightly tippy feeling. And for me, that was the biggest challenge with this motorcycle here, riding big lean angles with real confidence. I think you would need a little more time to get used to it properly. But even for, well, I do not want to say exotic motorcycle concepts, but definitely for unusual motorcycle concepts, the same rules apply as for all other vehicles. A maximum of 10 laps. And after 10 laps, I did not quite manage to explore the lean angle potential, which is unbelievably high, or the cornering potential of the machine. What I did manage to get quite a good feel for was the balance between torque, braking torque, and the use of the two brake pumps. I have to say, after only a few laps, you already get the feeling, okay, this is actually exactly the right setup. You have the handbrake. Well, I am already saying handbrake and foot brake. but both are operated with your hands. You basically have both feet free down below because you do not have to shift gears and you do not have to brake with your foot either. You can do all of that with your hands and it feels really correct and harmonious. It is strange because you are used to something else from other motorcycles. But from mountain biking, you know it exactly like this. And I really like the fact that you could use your hands so directly as the control instruments while your feet stayed free so you could position yourself properly down there. So I think I got that part quite well over time. What is of course a challenge is this feeling of torque. There is simply an unbelievable amount of torque available all the time. And even though it does not make any noise, there is still more respect there than even on a Hayabusa or on some other brutal petrol-powered motorcycle. You know that something truly enormous is lurking underneath you. So I am afraid I was always a little too cautious on the throttle because the way the power comes in is just so brutal. Now, of course, I know you can set all of that up, you can adjust the curve and so on, but if I make it too tame, then I have the challenge again that I cannot use the potential. Which brings us back to the same topic. With this motorcycle, you need a bit of familiarization time. You need some time to develop the feeling for how much torque you can send to the rear wheel and what then happens there. What does it do? What kind of feedback do I get? I did not manage to fully develop that feeling in 10 laps. It is also eerily quiet. You hear this whirring sound. And because of that, you hear far more than you would actually like to hear. You really hear the tire and the little stones, and I do not know all sorts of strange things that you simply do not normally hear. And that is naturally a little frightening if you are not already completely at home with electric bikes. What you really have to watch out for, and what you underestimate, is the recuperation. You can adjust that too, of course, but at the beginning it is a little unusual, this braking torque going into the corner. But now, after 10 laps, I have to say, it is actually good the way it is. I have the feeling that it keeps the balance of the vehicle nicely under control and that you have a stable position in the corner and glide through the radius in a stable way already just through the motor braking effect. Then you do not even have to correct that much with the rear brake here. What is breathtakingly good and what really cannot be praised highly enough, especially compared with other electric motorcycles, is something I have never experienced this well before. The way these controls, the throttle grip, the motor and the brake work together. I do not know who among you has ridden many electric motorcycles before. With other electric motorcycles or vehicles like that, you open the throttle and there is this tiny hint of inertia in it. Then you touch the brake lever and suddenly very strange things happen. That is not the case here. Here it is unbelievably harmonious, linear, consistent and pleasant. You can use the throttle grip and the brake at the same time with incredible precision and perfect control. And in my view, Stark has managed perfectly to turn this advantage of the almost clinical perfection of the electric motor into reality through the integration of high-quality components and unbelievably strong control quality. What also struck me here, and what is quite remarkable, is that there is hardly any motorcycle that creates such a high level of desire among younger riders. This thing here really puts many established, loud, screaming supermotos firmly in the shade. We see that in the viewing figures, and we also see it in the demand for the vehicle. Of course, as a parent, you then have to have an enormous amount of trust in the abilities of your children. My children are always begging me as well, asking whether they can ride it. It is, at times, I do not want to say the most dangerous vehicle on two wheels, but it is certainly one of the most intimidating vehicles on two wheels that you can climb onto. You really have to be experienced, or you must have the self-discipline to set the amount of power up there in the display to match your own riding ability. So this is also a big ego thing. And the danger if you give it to a child is, of course, that the child will be wonderfully quick at understanding that strange phone display with its 1,000 buttons, quicker than the parents, and will then naturally have access to the full mighty torque. And yes, then you can also have mighty hospital bills. So parents have to be very careful that the children do not pull the wool over their eyes and that they do not set the power to a level that they really should not be allowed to use. I am now still a little speechless, and I can understand how fascinating this vehicle is for many people. It really did blow me away. I have never ridden it off-road yet, and I absolutely have to make up for that. I am afraid I could not even begin to explore the potential, but I am already looking forward to seeing what Bernd Hiemer shows, what kind of lap time is really possible with it, and what he can do with it. I am truly excited to see where it sorts itself into the ranking, and I already have to apologize to my Stark fans that I could not get more out of this beast. But it fascinated me enormously, and it is a truly great enrichment for the whole topic of motorsport and motorcycles, because here you have maximum adrenaline release with no noise development. You have to say it like that. You can do motorsport directly next to the retirement home or next to a kindergarten, and nobody will have a problem with it, while you still get maximum adrenaline. So from me, that is a thumbs up for the motorsport fans of Stark, a thumbs up for this motorcycle, and please give us a thumbs up as well for our best time production here on the 1000 PS best time test track.